on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and it is the late night show once again. Big up to everyone out there, and
hello.
Big up to you, Sim. Big up to you as well.
Big up. We're getting closer and closer to that announcement. Thomas Frank on getting on that train. Everyone's getting on that train. People think I'm not on the Frank train. I'm on the Frank train. I'm just not on the club train. All right. People need to get a grip. I'm happy with Thomas Frank. I've got no problem with him. It's just about the club. All right.
You're on the negative train. That's what you're on. That's what you're on.
I'm not negative. I'm not negative. I can't believe people are finally accusing me of being negative.
And accusing me of being positive.
What happened to my toxic positivity?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, we got a few news stories to bring you today. There was an update yesterday regarding Antoine Semenyo. Another one today. Alex Crook from TalkSport saying that Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy has met with Semenyo's advisors about a possible summer transfer news. Bournemouth do value him at £70 million, which I think is fairly steep for Semenyo. Look, he's a good player. I like him. I do like him. It's just a bit of a step down from, like, let's say, an Mbeumo.
Yeah, I think Mbeumo is a bit of a cut above Semenyo from what I've seen. Obviously, similar ages, been in the Premier League, similar amount of time. And I think Semenyo is good at certain things, and Mbeumo is better at certain things. Semenyo is a bit more two-footed. I think he gets a bit more shots off. I think Mbeumo is a lot more clinical, and I think he's a lot more creative as well. And I just think he's a bit smarter than Semenyo. I think Semenyo might be a bit of a better dribbler, but I think Mbeumo kind of picks his dribbling moments better than Semenyo. Semenyo kind of gets the ball and does like 3 or 4 dribbles a game and maybe loses the ball a bit more, whereas Mbeumo might dribble less but be a bit more successful than Semenyo. Semenyo goes for the shots a lot more, whereas in Mbeumo I feel like his decision-making is a lot better. But if Semenyo played under Frank, who knows? Maybe he can improve those things and maybe become a better player playing under Frank than playing kind of the helter-skelter football that Iraola demands, kind of 100 miles an hour. 100% agree with you. I think 70 million is steep. I think he's around a 45 to 50 million pound player. That should really be the price we're looking for. I think that's a fair price, to be honest. But with Bournemouth selling a lot of high-profile players this summer, they've probably got no appetite to let more people go. So whether he's going to be easy to get out of Bournemouth, it remains to be seen. But I do like Semenyo. I think he'll be a good addition. I think Frank will have a lot to work with. But yeah, 70 million is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that point that you were saying about, Frank and him being able to improve players. I do think you'll see, if we were to find Semenyo, him go up another level. And, maybe he can reach the heights that Mbeumo did reach, under Frank as well. Like, it'll take time, obviously, to develop a player like that, but I really like him. And I think if we were to sign him, you could see him dramatically improve.
And he can play both sides as well. He can be equally plays on the right or the left. Because he's pretty two-footed. So I think there's a lot of positives to having someone like Semenyo. I just think he's got to improve his ability to create, his weight of pass, that kind of stuff. I think a lot of the time he's quite wasteful, and if he's not taking a shot, I think a lot of the time the chance goes to waste. So I think he's got to improve that. But I do think clearly as a very talented player there who can clearly get goals at this level. And that's not to be sniffed at.
Do you think it is a deal that we're going to look to get done? And if it is 70 million, do you think we actually go for that? I mean, surely it's a negotiation and you kind of probably meet halfway somewhere at like 50 to 60 million.
Yeah, I don't think we pay 70 million. In theory, if they're stubborn on that price, and surely you just go for an Eze, right? Why go for pay a bit more for Semenyo? You probably go for an Eze. So I think it's one we'll look at. I think we'll try
go for an Eze anyway. Like, isn't Eze just a better player?
I mean, I would go for Eze anyway. I'm just saying, if 100%, I would go for Eze. I think we will look at Semenyo. I think I agree with you. I think we'll look to get that price down. I think we'll see maybe Bournemouth. Maybe we'll try and see if they're willing to soften their stance. If they are, I think maybe there's a deal to be done for like 50 million or 45 plus add-ons or something like that. Maybe we'll look at it, but I don't think we're going to pay 70 for him. No.
Next up, we're going to talk about Anthony Elanga, as the Bleacher Report saying that Tottenham are closely watching Elanga of Nottingham Forest. Obviously, had such a great season this year under Nuno. Do you feel like Elanga is a player that we should be looking at?
I like Elanga. He's had a really good season for Nottingham Forest. Bit of a weird one. Obviously, he's been there for 2 years now after breaking through at Man United, and I would say like his first season was decent. Last season it was weird. Like up until like November time, wasn't really in the team as much or really contributing. And then I think there was one game he scored against, I think it was Aston Villa in a game they won 2-1. They won late on, and then from there he went on like a really mad run, like getting really regular goals and assists, and really found his confidence. And he's got lightning speed. I think he's a really good player, Elanga. I don't think he's on the level of a Semenyo or an Mbeumo. I think he's a level below that. But he's also quite young, I think, isn't he? How young is he?
23.
He's 23, so he's a bit younger than those two, only by a couple of years. I think he's really improved this season with Nottingham Forest, and I think he's really good for like playing on the counter. I've seen him score those counter goals where he's a very good ball carrier, like over long distances, a very strong runner over long distances. Got a really good left foot, really nice, cool finisher. I feel when he's in front of goal, he's got good composure. Yeah, I like him. I think I'd look at him. I think you kind of feel like you would hope he can take his game to another level if we sign him, but I think he's got potential to do so. I really do.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay as much as I'd pay for Semenyo or Mbeumo for him. I think
the max you'd probably want to play for Elanga is something like 45 million.
Yeah.
I think the attributes that he has can work really well in a Frank system, and not only has he played on the right wing, he's played a bit up front this season for Forest as well. And you know, his explosive. I mean, he's explosive, isn't he? In terms of his pace, he's such a quick player. Yeah. And I feel like you mentioned, this season he's really kind of refined his finishing a little bit, and when he gets in those moments, he can be clinical at times. So I feel like a player like that, who's probably what you say is like you say hasn't reached the level of a Semenyo or a Mbeumo or players like that. I feel like this guy. I said it about Semenyo, but I believe it for this guy even more, that someone like the manager can really take his game to beyond the levels that we're seeing, like well beyond the levels that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think he's different to Semenyo, whereas Semenyo is more of a ball to feet, run your man kind of attacker. He's more of a running behind, exploit the space kind of attacker, I feel, Elanga. And it'll be interesting to see if he comes to Spurs, and obviously we're playing and maybe a bit more possession based, and teams Elanga's have a bit more of the ball, because that's how it works a lot, and he's not got that space. If he's going to be as effective as he has been for Forest, who obviously predominantly play on the counter, I think that's really worked in his favour, the way Forest play. So in terms of a natural fit right now, from what I've seen, I don't know if it's a natural fit, but I do think there's a lot of talent there, and there is unbelievable pace. And he's not the kind of guy who's going to get the ball and run past people, dribble past people in tight spaces. He's more of the guy, like, if he sees space, he'll run into it. That's the kind of attacker he is.
100%. But he's also versatile as well, like left wing, right wing, up front. I mean, this season didn't play much on the left, but he has done that in the past, particularly in his first year at Nottingham Forest. So I think he's a player. Look, he's not going to be my first choice to bring through the club. I'd much rather a Semenyo or an Eze. But if we are like limited with options and we can't get those ones over the line, I wouldn't say no to Elanga. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I do. In a perfect world, I would say we probably need a bit of a different profile than him. I would say we do need a bit of a guy who gets the ball to feet, because I feel like Johnson, Son, right now anyway, they're at their best running in behind, and instead of having the ball to feet and running at people. We have like Odebear, but obviously we haven't seen enough of him. So apart from like him, we don't really have any of those kind of attackers too much. So we need that kind of profile. Like Eze would be perfect. Semenyo has that kind of ability as well. Whereas Elanga needs to show more of that, I feel.
Well, you want someone of that profile?
Although apparently he's only on 25 grand a week as well.
Well, that's going to prick. You shouldn't have said that. That's going to prick BBC right. You're asking for a player that likes ball to feet and likes to run at his defender as well. I'm going to talk to you about a player called Dorgeles Nene of RB Salzburg, and apparently Tottenham are interested in him. Not the best source, only Team Talk. However, I've been looking into this guy a bit, and he looks phenomenal. He plays predominantly on the left side, but can play all across the front three. Has absolutely exploded this season for RB Salzburg, and we know RB Salzburg, they've got an absolute conveyor belt of talent. He's got he's got how many goals? 13 goals or something, and 8 assists this season. In the season last year, the season before, he was at Westerlo and got very similar numbers. So he's gone to a better league in terms of the Austrian and the Belgian league. He's kind of like smashed both those leagues up. Young player, versatile, has the attributes that can play possibly left wing back as well. Does the hard work rate, defensive numbers are really good, and a clinical player and a creative player, and likes to take on his man, a dribbly winger.
Yeah, I'm looking at his underlying data. Definitely a guy who works hard and clearly very good at dribbling. Outside of that, it seems as though his stats aren't so impressive. I know he gets goals and assists clearly, and maybe there's something that, look, this is barefaced. I don't watch a lot of the Australian Bundesliga, unfortunately, but seems as though he doesn't perform so well when it comes to like how many shots he gets off, kind of what his XG numbers are. I guess it means he's kind of outperforming his XG if he's got low XG but high goal tally. So maybe it means he's got a good shot on him, but doesn't really create much either. It says his key passes are very low. So clearly quite a raw talent, it seems, I would say. But clearly very good at dribbling, like one of the better dribblers in Europe, it says here.
Yeah. He's also a Mali international, 23 caps, 7 goals. So Mr. Yves Bissouma would know him pretty well, 22 years of age. But yeah, like, I mean, look, his numbers are good, like 8 assists this season. He can't be, I mean, fairly good creation levels if he's got 8 assists this season.
Oh, I see why the data is actually, this data is nonsense because it's only looking at Champions League because it doesn't have the Austrian data.
Yeah.
So look, maybe he's one of these regens that we're looking at. That's what I'm referring to. If the scouting identifies someone that they really believe can do it, even though I've never heard of him, go for it. He works for Brighton. It works for a lot of these clubs, and that's kind of, we got to be smart in this window, I think.
And we were talking about it before, Sim, when we were in the studio as well, about you were mentioning that Franks likes to sign these kind of players and take them on and develop them and take them on to the next level. I mean, looking at what he's doing for RB Salzburg and what he did at Westerlo last season, he could be a good kind of option for that.
Yeah, he seems good. I mean, he's not like a teenager. He's 22. So he's not, but look, he's still young and he's doing well. Look, 17, I can see 17 goal contributions for Salzburg. He got 7 last season for Salzburg and then 11 for Westerlo. I mean, it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's out of this world, but yeah, it looks decent.
Yeah, well, he's improving year on year. But what I really like the look of is it's actually in the second half of the season, he really kind of exploded. Like in his last, was it 8 games? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now he got like 10 goal contributions.
Well, that's a bit of a red flag, in my opinion.
Why is that? You don't
because,
think?
I mean, that means it kind of implies it might be just a good run of form.
Could be, but the underlying data and everything like that kind of suggests that he's kind of really good.
Dribbling, yes. Look, again, the underlying data I'm looking at is they don't really have the Austrian stuff, so they only really have Champions League. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm totally convinced based on what I'm seeing here. I'm saying clearly he's a talent.
I was watching a few compilations of him.
Here we go.
He just looks insane, man. He looks so good.
It's another Gift Orban.
Nah. This guy's better than Gift Orban, and Gift Orban's going to come good.
Would you take him this summer?
Nah, probably not. But look, like I said, like RB Leipzig just have this like conveyor belt of talent, and he's also been linked. He's also been linked, like in the last year, like last summer, he was linked to a Premier League move as well.
Look, you're not selling me that we have to sign this guy based on this.
I'm not saying we have to sign him. I'm just saying due to the conversation we had before about Frank and getting these unknowns and making them into like really good Premier League established players, this could be a good kind of bet.
Potentially. I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Sonny. he made some comments after the Korea game today. He was asked about his future and about the rumors of him leaving, and he said, I still have 1 more year left on my contract. Rather than saying anything at this moment, I think we should all wait and see what happens. But no matter where I end up, I'll always do the best I can. It will never change. And Alistair Gold, off the back of that, was talking about him in his video today. And he said, Son is more open to a move away from Spurs this summer than he ever has been before. And the chances of Son moving to Saudi Arabia are higher now than they were when they last approached him in 2023. A move to the MLS is also believed to be of some interest to Son. However, MLS sides are unlikely to have the funds to complete such a deal.
Yeah, he tweeted it in his news as well, like a specific tweet.
Yeah, I think he tweeted one of those quotes. I don't know about all of them, but anyway, Son leaving would absolutely break my heart, to be honest. It really would. You're looking at Ange when he first came in, he had to deal with it without Kane, and now potentially Frank coming in without Son, which would be absolutely mad to think about. First of all, do you think this is the right time for Son to leave? And second of all, do you think he would actually go to Saudi or the MLS right now at this stage of his career?
Do I think it's the right time? Potentially. I mean, he goes when having won a trophy. We know he's 32. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's not getting any better, but I still think he's playing at a good level. Put it that way. But he's obviously not getting any better. But he still provides a lot for us, and he's still got 22 goal contributions last season, so not to be sniffed at. But at the end of the day, if it was anyone else but Son, who we love so much, it would be a bit of a no-brainer to sell. But obviously, Son is our captain. He's a legend. He's been here for a long time, and he's still good. So I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, but if he was to leave, if he left, you'd probably say it's the right time. But while it's in limbo, you kind of still want him to stay. You still don't want to let him go in that sense. But I can understand where his head's at, where he's thinking probably, it might, like if I'm putting myself in Son's shoes, he's probably thinking it's summer of change at Tottenham. Yeah, a lot of changes the manager, changes the board level. Is it a bit of a reset summer again? Is it another transitional summer? Do I want my last season at Tottenham to be a transitional season? All these different things may be swirling through his head right now. Is it time to, let the young guys, come through? Is it time for me just to step aside, having won that trophy? I've achieved what I needed to after 10 years. Now maybe it's time. Now it might be the right time to move on. Now, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. First of all, because what you said, I don't think his heart is set on Saudi. I don't think his mind is driven by money. So I don't think he's like desperate to go there. I think it's more of a good European club, or just a good European club, I would say. If there's a move on the table there to stay playing at the one of the top 5 leagues, I think that would be something he'd be more open to, especially ahead of a World Cup in 2026, where he wants to try and go into that tournament probably at the top of his game. So I don't think he's desperate to go there. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I wouldn't in my mind, I don't think he's like jumping at the chance to go there. But I think maybe if it's a case of, if it comes late in the window, not really many options, and Tottenham like really want to sign, like, I don't know, Eze or something, and we're like, Son, you kind of have to make way here, then maybe he'll be like, okay, fine. But I think, I don't know if that eventuality is ever going to come. I don't know if we're ever going to force him out or anything like that. I doubt it. So if it's up to him and it's either like go to Saudi or stay, I think he'll probably stay. Now, I also think maybe Frank can sit down with him and say, look, I know you're 1 year left, but you're my captain. I need you for this year. And also, look, this is how we're going to fit you in. This is how we're going to play. If we do this, you're going to get 15 to 20 goals. I tell you, you're still good enough. I've looked at your performances, and I can really see why I can get you scoring goals again. And maybe sit down and think, okay, I believe in this, and maybe I will just give this another year. And maybe even in this year, we can give it, if he's that good and shows that he's still not as declined as maybe some are saying, then maybe he can even sign another contract. I wouldn't rule that out completely as well, because I think he loves being here. And I think, but I just feel like right now, while it's in the summer, Frank's not being appointed, Ange's just been sacked, he's away on international duty. He's probably just looking at the overview of the situation, thinking, I don't know if I want to stay for another year potentially, or not want to stay, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the right time. It could be this summer. And clearly, what he's saying. I mean, judging by his quote, if he's the captain and if his mind is very focused on next season and staying here, I don't think he says what he says. Clearly, his mind is clearly his mind in his mind, I should say, is leaving. Because otherwise, we wouldn't say. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens next season. What if you're a captain? You got a year left. You're not out of contract. You got a year left, and you've just won Europa League. You're supposed to be obviously committed to the new project or whatever. He clearly has his mind potentially on leaving here.
Yeah, but yeah, look, like Alistair Gold said, he's the most open he's been to leaving since being here, which I can understand to a certain extent. He's been here a long time. Legend of the club. He finally got that trophy. However, the way I look at it is if he does leave this summer, it will hurt me a lot, and it will always make me think what could he have done under the new manager, Thomas Frank, because I think Frank, I've said it a few times, I think Frank will really play to his strengths. I think he'll get him into that those areas which we know Sonny can really perform at. And also, if you let him leave this summer, you need to get someone in that's going to get you 20 plus goal contributions. And are we going to do that? Can we do that even?
We can.
Well, will we?
Will we is another question. We definitely can. But I don't know especially as he's a high earner. So if you get those wages off, theoretically, you give those wages to someone else.
Yeah, look, if we can get Victor Gyökeres if we really wanted and put the money down on the table. But I can't see us getting rid of Sonny and bringing someone in at that level that's going to get us 20 plus goal contributions. And I feel Sonny is still at the level. Yeah, he's not the Sonny that we knew from 2-3 years ago for sure, but he's still at a level that can get us consistent goal contributions and make a real impact in our team next season. And I guarantee you, if he's in our team next season, we'll see a much better version of Sonny than we saw this season under Ange Postecoglou. And this year, he got 17 goal contributions in what was a poor year for Sonny, which everyone was saying he's past it, he's washed, he's this, he's that. He ain't anything of the sort. And this season, going into next season, like I said, he will see a much better version of Sonny. And I actually think it'll be a mistake to let him go this summer.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's more of just a time thing, I would say, rather than a quality or anything like that. I think the guy's been here 10 years. He's stated publicly the reason he stayed so long is to get that trophy over the line and fulfill that kind of dream. He's now done it. He's been through so many managers, and how many managers has he been through? 5, 6, 7? How many managers?
Poch, Nuno, Jose, Conte, Ange, and now Frank. This is his sixth manager.
Yeah. So sixth manager. Does he have the kind of excitement to go into kind of? Well, I know he still loves Spurs, but does he have that kind of hunger to lead yet another kind of go into a season with another new manager, another different approach, another new thing, especially when there's a lot of change going around? He might just feel with all this change, maybe I should be part of it. Maybe he feels that. I don't know. I'm just thinking
on the other side of that, the guy is the role model, top professional. You won't get a better professional than Sonny. And once he's back and in and around it, he'll have that hunger and desire to do well for Tottenham Hotspur for sure.
I don't doubt that, and I'm just saying right now, is that how he feels? I'm saying, going into this new season, I think maybe there's just that little thing in his mind thinking this could be time. I've just won the trophy now on a high.
The reality is, Spurs are going to want to, top whack for him with 1 year left on his deal. I can't see anyone putting the money down on the table apart from Saudi.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's unlikely that anyone apart from Saudi puts the money that Tottenham will want on the table for this summer.
Yeah, so I still think he'll probably be here next season.
But he is talking like he might not be, so that is a bit of a concern.
Look, I think he's talking like he's open to it. He's open to leaving if the right deal comes around. But will the right deal come around this summer? I do question that.
Yeah, it might not. It might not. And hopefully, one chat with Frank, and he's all those thoughts of leaving at the back of his mind.
Yeah, I think so. But the reality is though, if Sonny is here next season, we're going to have to manage his minutes a lot better than we did this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And look, but there's also rumours that we're going to sign Tel and a left winger. I mean, if that's true, that kind of hints at the club are planning on him leaving. But I agree. We know he can't play every minute. We know he can't start every game. And there were definitely times last season, especially when we had lots of injuries, that he was forced to do so. And that didn't help him, I don't think, at all. Even in that period, there were some games he stepped up for us. But yeah, I agree. I think he's going to have to be managed. We're going to have to make sure that when we play Son, we've got a fresh Son. I still think I agree. He's got so much to give. In Champions League games, I think he can still be deadly, and picking his moments in those kind of games. But yeah, we are obviously going to have to succession plan, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't done a great job of that yet.
No, I mean, look, the succession plan for Kane was a Richarlison and then a Solanke, which is obviously nowhere near the kind of levels that you're going to get with Kane. But the problem is with replacing these players like Kane and Son, you're never going to really truly replace them because that's how good they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you got to try to. It's not about replacing, but just finding the next guy who's going to be playing in that position. And we've obviously failed massively. Like we brought on Werner. Obviously, Tel has flattered to deceive so far. But maybe it'll be signing a Tel and signing one other, or maybe we'll just put our trust in Tel. It's going to be an interesting summer, I think.
Yeah. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let us know your thoughts about
everything. Sonny, come on, stay. Come on.
Let us know about everything that we've spoken about in the comments section below. And yeah, it's that time of the